You guys remember Penn Central, the financial disaster of a railroad? Yeah, that's the second coming of Jesus Christ compared to what we're talking about today. So, here is about Norfolk Southern, how to not have the public's trust. Let's get some background information. In 1980, the Norfolk and Western and the Southern decided to merge and form Norfolk Southern on June 1st of 1982. With this came the steam program, where you saw locomotives like nickel plate roads, 587 and 765, Southern 4501, 630, and 722, Atlanta and West Point 290, CNO 2716, Savannah and Atlanta 750, and Norfolk and Western 611 and 1218. Sadly, this would end in December of 1994. However, Norfolk Southern would bring it back in the 2010s, and in that same decade, they released 20 heritage units. It seemed like nothing could go wrong for NS. After all, this was a merger between two of the best southeastern railroads. Well, things did go wrong. In 2017, Norfolk Southern would fire employees, increase their trains from 1 or 1.5 miles to 2 miles, maybe more. Or in other ways, they cut out ways that decrease safety, all for money. This was called precision scheduled railroading. 2 years later, in 2019, this was the beginning of the infamous roster purge, with the retirements of the SD60s, these SD60Ms, and SD60Is. Then, in February of 2020, this began the retirement of what would eventually became a big deal with the retirement of 703 units, which include, but are not limited to, SD70 variants, all of their SD80 Max, and all of their C40-8Ws. Cow Unit Productions did a video about this, so I highly recommend you go check that one out. But anyways, with the Dash 8s and SD60s, they were already on their way out in the 2020s. However, while something like the SD60 and Dash 8 is being retired is somewhat understandable, well, the SD70 standard cabs were evidently NS wanted to convert their SD70 standard cabs into SD70 ACCs, and many of the SD70Ms and M-2s weren't that old, with the youngest SD70M being retired when it was after only 15 years of service, and the youngest M-2 retired was only in 13 years of service. Additionally, no one complained about the reliability of the SD80 Max. Which makes their retirement somewhat questionable. And with that out of the way, now let's get into the actual bread and butter of what happened. On February 3rd, 2023, a Norfolk Southern train carrying vinyl chloride derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, with numerous residents having to be evacuated and the water and soil around with the environment of East Palestine being contaminated. Eventually, this led to Norfolk Southern having 4 major derailments in 4 months. And the next part, now this makes me laugh, Norfolk Southern donated to the Red Cross $25,000. I am actually serious, dear viewer. Anyways, this is a company with $10 billion of net worth. And doing this just... someone can make you think they don't give a fuck. But Norfolk Southern would eventually be involved with a lawsuit with the FRA. And the specific cause of what's happening, of whatever happened in East Palestine, is currently being investigated by the NTSB as of when I'm recording this. Now, Norfolk Southern. Someone said in a video they would recover, and I would say yes, they probably would, but their reputation would be flushed down the toilet. And they won't be looked at the same ever again. Well, that's all I need to say. And with that, I'll go work on my next video, so I'll see you guys whenever I do that.